back to another video. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and I have some pink yarn left over from the Celeste cosplay sweater vest that I just made a couple of weeks ago. I have to make a heart-shaped beret with a matching little necktie, neck warmer, scarflet, whatever you want to call it. I have 100 grams plus however much this is, probably a little bit under 50 grams, so I have quite a bit of yarn to go around. And I am going to be making a heart-shaped beret inspired by this image that I found on Pinterest. This is actually an image from a pattern from the Spool Cotton Company, and it's from the 40s. The pattern is very hard to track online, and I thought it'd be fun to recreate it and kind of like do our own little version of it. And I'm also going to be doing pretty much the same neck warmer that I have here, or scarflet that I have here, but we're doing it in pink as well. And I am going to have to change it up a little bit because this yarn is a little bit thinner than the yarn that I'm going to be using for this project. It's time to go and get started with our yarn. I got out my notebook to make sure I took notes on what I was doing while I crocheted, and I got started on the heart beret first. I actually found this pattern on Pinterest as well for a heart-shaped rug of all things, and I did use it to help me get the shape of the heart for the top of the beret. I've included it in the pattern PDF I made for this, and I have also linked it in the description so you can go ahead and use it too. This heart-shaped pattern made up in this yarn turned out to be the perfect size, but obviously depending on what type and size of yarn you use, it could make a smaller or bigger heart, so do keep that in mind. So I started by chaining 24, and I started working the first row from the 4th stitch by doing 2 trebles in that one stitch. I will be using UK crochet terminology throughout this video, by the way. Then I did 5 trebles, and I started shaping for the heart by doing 1 half treble, 1 double, 1 slip stitch before skipping 3 stitches on the chain and doing another slip stitch in the 4th. I followed that by another double, a half treble, and 5 more trebles before rounding off the heart shaped with 6 trebles in the last stitch of the chain. If you're following the little heart diagram, it makes it way easier to understand, so just keep that in mind. I also found that highlighting the stitches that I'd done made it easier to not get lost in the diagram. I'm going back and forth doing the stitches, taking notes because I really wanted to make sure I put this pattern into writing as well, not just for you guys, but to keep it in my patterns notebook. So yes, I just kept following the pattern, and basically we want to do a kind of decrease in the center to form the V shape, and then increases on the sides and bottom to round out the heart shape. And then each row is pretty much a repeat, but with a small variation of how many increases you do on the sides and the tip, while the decrease on the V shape at the top of the heart is always the same. The heart itself is only 5 rows, so when that's done, we can start actually turning the heart into a beret. To do that, I flipped my heart over so that the part that is now facing me will be the right side of the beret. I did this mostly because I thought this side looked tidier. For row 6, we're going to go all around the heart doing double crochets, but only in the back loop to help us create that shape of a beret. We're only doing double crochet stitches from here on out, and I'm adding a stitch marker at the join of the rows so that I don't lose count of how many rows I've done. For row 7 to 13, we're going to just do double crochet, slip stitching the rows closed at the end, just like we've been doing for the heart shape. Now we had a change in scenery. We spent a long weekend with family, so I did continue working on this project on the go. For row 14, we're going to start decreasing to continue shaping the beret. So I did a decrease every 10 stitches. This means that I skipped a stitch for every 10 stitches that I did do. For row 15, we are continuing with the decrease, but here I decreased every 5 stitches. The way I figure this out is just by trying on the beret as I go, looking in the mirror and deciding how I want to go from there. Is it too tight? Is it too loose? Do I need to decrease more or do I need to decrease less? I also had a tester beret, the brown one that you can see in the corner of the screen, and that obviously helped a ton as well. For our last row, I did double crochets again with a decrease every 10 stitches and tied off the end. I got started on the scarflet, and this starts with a chain 4 and 4 trebles in the first stitch of the chain. I've made many of these now. They're a quick and easy project that is super cute and useful and really great for yarn leftovers. I actually wanted to make one after seeing tons of knitted vintage ascots, cravats, scarflets, etc. But my knitting is rudimentary at best, so I came up with this pattern. Row 2 is 5 double crochets, so 1 for every stitch plus the chain. This pattern consists of alternating double and treble crochet rows with increases and decreases to create the shaping. Then for row 3, we chain 3 and do 8 trebles, 2 being in the first stitch and 3 in the last, and then the middle stitches only get 1 treble. For row 4, we do 9 doubles. For row 5, we chain 3 and do 12 trebles. Again, 2 in the first stitch and 3 in the last. And then from row 6 to 9, we alternate between 13 doubles and 13 trebles, making sure that every treble row starts with a chain 3. For rows 10 to 12, we do doubles only and decrease 2 stitches per row, 1 at each end. And then from rows 13 to 20, we again do only doubles, and it should be 7 doubles per row. This section will be part of the scarflet where we close it or tie it off. Row 21 consists of a chain 3 and then 2 trebles per stitch to increase. And then rows 22 to 64 are going to alternate between doubles and trebles with no increases or decreases, making sure that we're chaining 3 for every treble row. I say 64 rows because that's how many it came to in mine, but this is flexible. You should try it on as you go to see how long you want yours. It will also depend on the size of your yarn, so do keep that in mind. When the scarflet is the length you want it to be, we can start decreasing and shaping the other end. To decrease, we're going to do 7 doubles, 1 in every other stitch. And then we're going to essentially repeat everything we did for the start of the scarf or the other end, but we're going to do it in reverse. Once that's done, there's 2 more steps that I like to do. One is to make the closure more functional, and the other is to add a border. The border is definitely optional, but the closure I would recommend you do just to get the same result as me. We start with a slip knot and slip through the stitches on the one side of the skinny part of the scarflet, doesn't matter which. So I'm just going to be doing slip stitches through these stitches here, and the plan is to get as many stitches as before, so there should be 7 in total. Then I like to add 8 rows of doubles so that it matches what is already there, and I'll use slip stitches to connect this piece I just made to the rest of the scarf at the end of the skinny bit of the scarf. So now I've essentially created a loop that the other end can be slipped through so the scarflet is securely tied around the neck. For the border, I like to do a scalloped edge around everything except the skinny sections, and the pattern that I use for my scalloped edge is 1 double, 1 half treble, and then 3 trebles, and it's actually really easy to do with this scarflet because you can just do the scallop in every double row and skip all the treble rows, so it makes the perfect spacing. For the tips of the scarflet, I do the same scallop, but I do 5 trebles instead of 3. When the border is done on all the edges, all that's left to do is to weave in all those ends and then show you the reveal. That's the reveal. I hope you enjoyed it. I am so beyond happy with it. It's so cute. I am securing it with bobby pins at the moment. Like, it's really just a silly, fun little project that you can whip up quite quickly. I had fun making it for sure, so I hope you recreate it as well, and that if you do end up recreating it, I would love to be tagged in those photos because I just would love to see that. Again, there's a pattern for both of these below. Please be mindful that I am not a crochet pattern designer or pattern writer, so I definitely wrote this in a very like, this is how I made it kind of way. So it's definitely not like a professional grade pattern in any sense. It's like a transcription of what I did. I hope you have a happy Valentine's Day if you celebrate. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't done that already. It would mean a lot to me. And it would really help me out. And let me know if you enjoyed this project and what other projects you would like to see me do in the future in the comments. That would also be very appreciated. And consider following me on Instagram or TikTok or Minerva.com. I do have a profile on all of those, and I will leave all of those links below as well, so you can go and find me super easily. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.